Hello. Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2026, what is this? The Alumni Achievement Awards. Thank you so much for being here. How about we meet tonight's honorees? If you would stand, please, as they are introduced. Our Rising Star Award, Austin Stewart. Tonight's Spirit of Maine Achievement Award, Fatima Afgah. Our Fogler Legacy Award winner, please welcome the Bork family. Our Champion of the University of Maine Award, Captain Jim Settley. Let's say hello and a big hey to our Bernard Lown Alumni Humanitarian Award, Kara Hay. Our Suzanne K. Hart Alumni Service Award, say hello to Charles Stanhope. This year's Distinguished Maine Professor, Dr. Muhammad Musavi. And last but certainly not least, our Alumni Career Award winner, Trish Riley. You may be seated. What's going on here? Okay, Alumni Awards, I got a few minutes, that's good. How about Words with Friends? Let's see, and Provost. Provost? Who played Provost on
me? Got you, Danny. Retirement? Who played that? September 1st. Looking forward to that. Composites? Who played that?
Who do you think it was, Mr. Mills? Oh, President? Who could that be?
Well, who did you think it was, Habib? Gubernatorial.
Welcome, everybody, to the University of Maine Alumni Achievement Awards.
Well, once again, hello, good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. We're in a different kind of space for this event. We're going to give it a try, but we are very excited that you're here. I'm usually here in this space conducting a choir, so. Be careful. Although you will have an opportunity to sing a little bit later. You all know what the deal is at the end, right? So, this is going to be a wonderful evening and a wonderful event. And again, thank you all for being here. I want to get things started tonight with sort of the person responsible for all of this. It's not in my script, but many of you know that this year the Alumni Association celebrated its 150th anniversary at the beginning of school last year. That was at the beginning of the academic year, and Tom Pico, who has been at the head and the helm of the Alumni Association has really, and I said it when he first came, it's like he's been here forever. And I mean that in a good way. He's a UMAA alum. He received his BA degree he's a class of '88. He might talk about members of his family, including someone who's going to be an alum a week from tomorrow. He has enjoyed a really successful career in the nonprofit space. Most notably, he served as executive director of Make-A-Wish for 18 years and then 7 years as the president and CEO of Penobscot Bay Regional Chamber. He came back to the alma mater, our alma mater, his alma mater, in July of 2022. Again, it does not seem like it's been only 4 years or coming up on 4 years, but what a great job he has done. And how about a nice round of applause for Tom Pico.
Sorry, I have to move this up a little, Danny. Yeah, so. Yeah. Well, let me share some love right back to Danny Williams, who is our Master of Ceremonies again this year, and we keep asking him back because he's done such a great job. So, thank you, Danny. So, thank you all for joining us tonight as we shine a light on a few of the countless alumni, faculty, and friends who help to perpetuate the positive impact of the University of Maine. This event is one of countless ways that the UMaine Alumni Association works to keep our alumni connected, inspired, and engaged, as we have been doing for over 150 years, as Danny said. We have so many reasons to be immeasurably proud of our alma mater, and all of those points of pride can be traced back to the amazing people that bring the University of Maine to life. Tonight is a celebration of a handful of those people who are among the best examples of what makes the University of Maine special. There are a number of honored guests that I want to introduce you to tonight. Please hold your applause to the end of each group as I get to them. I want to thank our sponsors for tonight, and I will introduce you as a group. If you want to give a little hoot when I say your name, that's fine too. Maine Health, Doctors Disability Specialists, Jim Cashmar is here, hoot, yep. The Fitch Company, United Insurance, I know has some folks in the house. Oh, there we go, yep. Machias Savings Bank, so, all right, good. WBRC, so yes. University Credit Union, so yeah. And the University of Maine Foundation, so yes, all right. So, yay, thank you. We also want to thank Nate Wilds and Flight Deck Brewing for the complimentary beer tonight, so thank you. And we are grateful to our great partners with Sutherland Weston. I always stumble over that. Sutherland Weston Marketing and Communications in Bangor for the videos tonight. So. We are honored to have in our presence two members of the UMaine System Board of Trustees. Of course, the trustee chair, Trish Riley, class of '73, and trustee Donna Loring, class of '86. So remember, you're supposed to wait until the end of the group before you applaud, okay? Here's another opportunity. Also representing the University of Maine system tonight, we have a couple of senior staff, including Samantha Warren, a graduate alum class of '08 and Chief External and Government Affairs Officer, and Seth Goodall, who is the Executive Director of the Maine Graduate Professional Center in Portland. Thank you both for being with us tonight. So. From the University of Maine Board of Visitors, we have Hannah Hudson, class of 2012, and Chris Rector with us tonight. So thank you both for being here. We are honored to have the president of the University of Maine School of Law, who also happens to be a Black Bear, a 1976 graduate of the University of Maine, and our 2022 Alumni Career Award winner, the Honorable Lee Softly, is with us tonight. Thank you. So We have a couple of our academic deans with us tonight. I know Jason Harkins from the business school was here earlier and had to leave, but we appreciate him coming. We do have Dr. Emily Haddad from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and Dr. Giovanna Guidaboni from the Maine College of Engineering and Computing, and also representing the Honors College tonight, Associate Dean Dr. Melissa Leidenheim. Thank you all for being with us. We're grateful to have members of our student government here at the University of Maine, including recently elected President Cynthia Shelmerdine, Vice President Hazel Sparks, and our immediate past president, Keegan Tripp, all with us tonight. I'm not sure where they are, right back here. Thank you very much. The sitting president of student government is a member of the Alumni Association board, so it's a pleasure for us to get to know them each year, and we appreciate Keegan's service on our board for the last 2 years, so thank you. Had a number of senior skulls help us out tonight as volunteers, including President Jasper Makowski, Nicholas Coops, and Zachary Ribeiro. Thanks you very much for being with us tonight and for your help. So. We have a tremendous partnership, as you know, with the University of Maine Foundation, and President Jeffrey Mills and members of his team are with us tonight, including, I hope I don't miss anybody, Sarah McPartland-Good, Kim Allen, Jill Burke, Pat Cummings, Liz Erickson, Dee Gardner, and Karen Kemble. I think, did I miss anybody? So, all right. Thank you. Voting members of our UMAA Alumni Association Board of Directors, our chair, Nate Wilds, immediate past chair, Teresa Lee, Rich Goodenough, Catherine Johnson, and Jim Kashmar. Thank you all for being here tonight. Only a few more, I promise. So, we are grateful to have several past chairs of our Board of Directors for the Alumni Association with us tonight, including Greg Jamison, Trish Riley, who you already met, Teresa Lee, who you already met, and Julia Muncy. So thank you all for your past service. Predecessors of mine include our President Emeritus John Diamond, of course Jeff Mills, Todd Saucier is with us tonight, and Donna Kierstead. So thank you all for being here with us tonight. So, I would be remiss, you'll have a chance later in the summer to give a more direct honor to Jeff Mills, but I would be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity here tonight to acknowledge his upcoming retirement on September 1st. He is a predecessor of mine, been a great mentor to me in my role coming on board here to the Alumni Association, and I think it's hard to think of somebody who has been more dedicated over the course of his lifetime to the University of Maine than Dr. Jeffrey Mills. So would you please give a round of applause for his service. All right, the final group I saved is a group that has worked tremendously hard to bring this event together for you tonight, and that's our Alumni Association staff. Each and every one of them has worked countless hours on this event, and I want to take a second to make sure that you know who they are, and some of them are backstage, so I'll ask them to come out and wave too. Our operations manager, Erica Wolf, our data processing manager, Ken Bubar, our Director of Corporate Engagement, Diane Norton. I don't see any of them standing up, but maybe they could. Thank you. Yep. Senior Engagement Associate, Rebecca Huffstetler. Communications Manager, Mackenzie Staples, right over here. Engagement Associate, Chelsea McCallion. And the woman who keeps us all on track and pulls this all together, our Director of Alumni Engagement, Ashley Twombly. So. Thank you all. Last but certainly not least, we are honored to have our president with us tonight. Joan Farini-Mundy is the 21st president of the University of Maine, as you well know. She also serves as the president of the University of Maine at Machias and as vice chancellor for research and innovation for the University of Maine system. It's my pleasure to have President Farini-Mundy come to the podium now and give some welcoming remarks. Thank you.
Danny, we need a better solution to this. Okay. Okay, we're good. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, to see you all. What an incredible event. Thank you to the Alumni Association and to everybody who's been a part of bringing this evening to us. These awards are an opportunity to celebrate an extraordinary group of awardees, and it's one of the most special events at this time of year when we have lots of special events. But this one brings across into the university members of so many important communities, and in particular, of course, our awardees. So congratulations to the awardees. Let's do that one more time. We'll have more chances. I feel fortunate in my time here to have gotten to know a number of these awardees quite well, and to read about the others. Your accomplishments reflect the very best of the University of Maine: excellence, leadership, service, kindness, and a deep commitment to making a difference. And so we're very proud to have you as key members of the University of Maine family. I also want to offer my sincere thanks to our sponsors and to everyone whose generosity not only makes this celebration possible, but a generosity and confidence that demonstrates commitment to this university and to the enterprise of higher education here in Maine at a time when that's a challenging moment across the country. So I really thank you as alums for what you do for this university and for solidifying the connections that span generations. And as you look around the room, you can see that and the wonderful traditions that are passed along through your organization. Today's an important day for the university, as it marks the priority enrollment deadline for incoming students. So as late as like 5:30, I'm texting to see if we have the number. I don't have it, but it may be that Kevin Coughlin will show up and be able to tell us, but we've been doing very well. And I want to say how many of you, to thank the many people in this room who have been able to help us be a part of that this year. Although the days and weeks ahead are important for students as they make their final decisions, you all play a powerful role in the process. When you share your stories, describe the friendships that you formed here, mention the faculty who changed your path, or relate the opportunities that open doors for you here at UMaine, you help prospective students see themselves as a part of this community, and we are very grateful. So as we prepare to welcome the next generation of Black Bears, we are also preparing to celebrate those who are ready to take their next step beyond the University of Maine. And in just 1 week, we will be together, still, I believe, at the graduate commencement ceremony. At this time, more than 2,000 students across the graduate and undergraduate communities will cross the stage and join your ranks as alums of the University of Maine. They'll be part of your traditions of carrying forward the Black Bear spirit in their communities, in other higher ed institutions, in their families and in their workplaces, and maybe even right here at the University of Maine. It's an exciting time of growth and transformation on the campus. We're seeing the results of significant investments in facilities that support our students, our researchers, our professors, and the state of Maine. The New Balance track and field and soccer complex has opened, giving our student athletes and the broader community a premier new venue. If you haven't seen it, try to get out and take a look. It's just gorgeous. Morse Arena, as you probably can tell by the situation with traffic and parking, is moving forward as the next major step in our athletics facilities master plan, and it will be a new home for UMaine basketball, as well as a gathering place for campus and for the community. At the same time, major academic and research projects are advancing our learner-centered R1 vision, including the GEM Factory of the Future, the Sustainable Aquaculture Workforce and Innovation Center. Sam, we gotta still find a quicker way to say that. It's abbreviated SAWIC, and the Food Innovation Lab. These investments will expand our hands-on learning, strengthen Maine's workforce, and support innovation for decades to come, and we are deeply grateful to all who've played a part in helping to support and finance those institutions, those facilities, including the Harold Alfond Foundation, our congressional delegation, particularly with the leadership of Senator Susan Collins in her role as Appropriations Chair, bless you, and all that has come from the very, very generous donor community, the federal government, and other sources. All of this progress here at the University of Maine, even in challenging times, is made possible in large part because of the unwavering support of our alumni community. look around the room. The folks who are here care about this university. You have passion for this university. That passion's evident in every gift, every word of encouragement, every mentorship opportunity that you provide, every story that you share, and then I added a little more here. And yes, even in every constructive criticism that you offer or question that you ask, because that makes us better. It makes us think, it makes us reflect, it makes us continue to be the institution in which you have so much faith and so much confidence and for which you care so deeply. So again, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. Congratulations to tonight's honorees, and go Black Bears. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Lots of great things to be excited about here on campus. Before we get to the first award, I want to go back to Tom's introduction. And by a show of hands, how many of you did not get introduced? Just wanted, okay. All right. How about a round of applause for everybody who wasn't? You did a great job. You got everybody and then some, right? Great. All right, here we go. The Rising Star Award. This honors an alumnus who has graduated within the last 10 years and has exemplified UMaine's mission and values, shown great loyalty to their alma mater, and enhanced the reputation of the university.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Rising Star Award is presented by doctors, disability specialists, and Maine Health.
Austin, as he was growing up, was very focused and driven, always set goals for himself.
There's been a long tradition of people in both of our families attending UMaine. My dad, John's dad. And we had visited UMaine like he met Bananas the bear when he was just a baby.
We visited lots of colleges, and he ultimately settled on Maine and had an outstanding experience here.
Austin joined Alpha Tau Omega. We were able to grow together as brothers, and I could see him as he really led a lot of different initiatives at the University of Maine, and I think in part because he was surrounded by a community that supported him and encouraged him.
Austin right now is in his first year of residency down in Portland. He's focusing on pediatrics. When he was a child, he was sick, diagnosed with cancer, and he's now working in the same hospital that treated him as a 6-year-old.
Austin is probably the most intelligent and caring person that I've ever met. I mean, most people understand that med school's hard, but the intellectual aptitude and the workload demand to be a med student and to be as involved with the University of Maine as an alumni, it's just absolutely astounding.
And that's the passion that Austin brings to the scene, to any scene he's a part of. And I know that that's why he cares deeply for pursuing this career.
Doctors of Austin's caliber have the capability to go wherever they want and practice in any discipline they want. He could have gone anywhere and do whatever he wanted, but he decided to come back to Maine and specialize in pediatric care. What's next for Austin? Yeah, I don't know, but whatever it is, it's gonna be great.
I think Austin's going to continue caring for the community, and that could look a lot of different ways, whether it's direct patient care, his engagement in different organizations that support community health.
I think this honor, this award is special to him for what he's put into this university, both the goals that he set, that he's achieved, all the organizations that he's been involved with.
If you can imagine how proud his college is of him, then you can imagine how proud we are of Austin.
Jim Kashmar, class of 1944 of Doctors, Disability Specialists, will now present our Rising Star Award to Dr. Austin Stewart.
Pardon me, hello everybody. I'm excited to get things started off tonight. And it's a great day to be back in Orono, because every day in Orono is a great day. I'm incredibly honored to be receiving the Rising Star Award, and what makes it even more surreal is thinking back to volunteering at this event as a Team Maine member just 8 short years ago. When I think about what UMaine has meant to me, I keep coming back to a poem that was first shared with me by an older ATO brother on my early days on campus. It's called The Bridge Builder, and while I don't have time to read you that poem tonight, I implore you to look it up. At that time, I didn't fully appreciate the poem, but I've since realized that UMaine is a place where people quietly build bridges for each other every day, and I was the recipient of many of those bridges. During my time in Orono as a third-generation UMaine student, I was fortunate to be surrounded by people who believed in that mission, believed in me, professors who challenged me, peers who supported me, and mentors who created opportunities I didn't even know to ask for. Experiences, as very kindly shown in that package, reflecting that when we show up for each other, we all move forward. In sum, what begins at UMaine doesn't stay here. It carries outward across the state, into our careers, professions, communities, and it influences the way we choose to lead. For me, the rising part of this award happened here on campus. I'm thankful for the recognition of my actions to apply those lessons in the journey to become a medical professional. So thank you to UMaine, to this community, to my family, and to everyone who continues to build something meaningful for those who will follow, including many of the great examples I'm sure we'll hear about tonight. I'd be remiss not to take this opportunity in seeking a future British of my own, so if anyone has a direct line to Jeff Probst or the Survivor casting community, let them know I'm calling. But in all seriousness, thank you, congratulations to all the award winners tonight, and go Black Bears.
Congratulations, Austin. The Spirit of Maine Achievement Award is given to an alumnus who has graduated within the last 15 years and has achieved a high level of professional, scholarly, or public success.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Spirit of Maine Achievement Award is presented by the Fitch Company.
Yeah, it has been a great privilege to work with Dr. Afka. Her particular sort of strengths when he was a PhD student at University of Maine was that not just trying to solve a problem from one angle. So she was basically thinking outside the box. When she was listening to other students' challenges and problems, she was trying to kind of step up and say, okay, maybe have you tried this? So she was also acting as a mentor for other students at her level, and she was also acting as a mentor for undergraduate students.
Her colleagues knew when they were working beside her here in Orono that she would go far, and she certainly did. When there is discussion or debate about the use of this technology, people call on Dr. Afka because she is a recognized expert in the field. She excelled while here at the University of Maine in her research and doctoral studies, and then now as a faculty member at Clemson, she is a national leader in research around AI technology, the use of drones in wildfire suppression.
When we were in Arizona, wildfires were a big concern because of dry climate. Fatima started a project for using drones and aerial systems to manage wildfire. This was a really big grant, multi-institutional, and she showed great expertise and leadership. She's also highly motivated in her student success. She always tries to make sure that her students get good jobs and very strong positions when they graduate. I think most successful faculty, to be honest, have a very busy work life, so it may impact their family life. But Fatima is really different. She spends a lot of time with family and makes sure that her job doesn't negatively impact our personal life. She's always up for trips and she spends a lot of time with kids, and we are very grateful for it.
I think Dr. Afka is truly the embodiment of the spirit of Maine. I think we are this public-facing university that we want to serve the public. We want to serve the people of Maine. So when Dr. Afka was picking her research topic, she always had that spirit of Maine in the back of her mind. How does it going to affect the foresters, the oceanographers, fisheries industry, or agricultural businesses, and how I can use technology to lift everybody up.
Not only is she an industry leader, but she is an outstanding example of the value of a University of Maine education.
Fatima may be a Clemson Tiger now, but a big part of her is always Maine Black Bear.
Please welcome our 2026 Spirit of Maine Achievement Award honoree, Dr. Fatima Afka.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to receive this award and being back to beautiful Maine campus. UMaine wasn't only the place that I got my PhD, it was the place that I became a mother for the first time. And it was also a home for me as an international student. Coming to US in 2009, not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, UMaine and the UMaine community made it a second home for us. We built up a beautiful family here, and I also learned what I want to do for my career, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So glad to be here. I think like the very long Maine winters, it made me to develop the habit of working all day, every day, and it has stayed with me through my career. I enjoyed every minute of it. I really like to thank all the faculty, community, my parents, my husband, my supporting husband, my three beautiful kids that they always keep up with my ambitions. And I also want to thank Dr. Abedi, who taught me to not only be a researcher and an engineer, he also taught me how to be a family person, a parent, and how to have the right ethic for your work and support your group in the way that you want others to support you. So I really appreciate his support and the support of his lovely wife and the family that we made here. I'm so glad to be here, and I like to contribute to UMaine community for years to come. Thank you, everybody.
I don't know about you, but after the winter we had, that is some silver lining about winters making you want to work more. That is a silver lining right there. Congratulations. The Fogler Legacy Award is presented to a family with at least 3 generations of UMaine graduates with a strong tradition of service to the university, the Alumni Association, their community, or profession.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Fogler Legacy Award is presented by United Insurance.
The legend of the Bork family begins at the Bears Den at the University of Maine sometime in the 1960s.
I always say I literally would not exist if not for the University of Maine. They met at the Bears Den.
I believe that. I do. I believe that 100%.
It wasn't at the Bears Den. It was York Hall dining room where we first met.
I just came to eat.
We would have long conversations in the dining room, and he invited me to go to the library. That was our first date. And then he invited me to the Bears Den for a cup of tea.
Peter is a strong leader. He's the president of the class of 1964. He's been very instrumental in bringing the class back together after many years. And Mary, the class of 1965, has also been active in her class. We've been fortunate that their 3 children, Michael, Diane, and Tom, are all proud Black Bears.
We encouraged them to go to UMaine. Michael was, because in the newspaper business, he really wanted to go to Syracuse. And because then you start looking at price tags.
And so he chose to go to Orono, as did the other 2.
There were definitely other options, other thoughts, but the connection to Maine and certainly their having met there was a big deal, and it was important. We'd been on campus lots of times. I wanted to live in Maine ultimately, and so attending the University of Maine and getting a degree there was going to be a smart thing for my career and my life, and it was home from the day I set foot there.
And then came the 3rd generation of Black Bears, Mari, Eli, Olivia, and Izzy.
I was actually pretty resistant to it at first. Like, I don't want to be, maybe I don't want to do the same thing that like my parents have done or my grandparents, but it was undeniable when I stepped on that campus that that was my home, and I was proud to follow in their footsteps but also make my own path. The University of Maine feels small and it feels like home, but there's also a place for everybody. A huge part of my experience at the University of Maine was the University of Maine Singers and UMaine Renaissance. And those friends that I made in those groups are still my friends today, and I know that they'll be lifelong friends for me.
What did the University of Maine give to my family? It gave opportunity.
We came away from Orono in the 60s with a large number of friends.
Memories that will last forever, and just a community that I know I can always come back to.
I think this is the ideal year to recognize the Bort family with this Legacy Award. This year will be the first year the Bort Family Scholarship will select a recipient. Michael and his wife Kendra established this in honor of Peter and Mary.
Giving students from our alma mater high schools the chance to attend UMaine and kind of make those memories and have the same kind of transformative experiences that we've had.
So we have 9 proud Bork Black Bears. Who knows how many more will be attending the University of Maine.
Please welcome Zach Frechette, class of 2009, President and CEO of United Insurance, who will now present our Fogler Legacy Award to a third of the audience, the Bork family.
I don't have a lot to say after I saw the video. I think it pretty much told the story. But one thing I wanted to add to that, though, was that we would not have met at York Hall, but in 1964, which was my senior year, that was the first fall that the University of Maine integrated the campus. In '63 and prior to that, for all those years, all the men were in the north end of the campus and all the women were in the south end of the campus. So we wouldn't have met each other if we... So thank God for integrating the campus, and gave us a great chance to meet at York Hall for a little bit of chow, and we enjoyed that. So thank you very much.
I guess he's leaving us here. All right, well, we got the story straight now, I guess, after all these years. Thank you again, and good evening. I'm Michael Bork. I am a graduate of the class of 1989 at the University of Maine, and the firstborn of Peter and Mary Bork, who started this whole thing right here. On behalf of the family, let me say thank you to the Alumni Association for making this award. It means a great deal to us, as does the University of Maine. I want to thank especially Tom Pico and Ashley Twombly, Ashland's own Ashley Twombly, always a nice connection, who've helped us get through the logistics here tonight. And it took some doing to gather all of these people. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you also to my high school classmate and UMaine classmate, Dee Gardner, who's at the Southern Maine office of the UMaine Foundation, who I believe nominated us. Thank you, Dee. It's not often, I was saying this earlier to people, it's not often that you get a chance to stand in front of people and reflect on something 60 years in the making. And so it's a pretty fun opportunity for us here tonight. I do think it's helpful to think about beginnings as we're telling stories. I know certainly this year we'll be doing that a lot with our 250th. Rick, you did a nice job in the video. Not quite Ken Burns, but pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll take that. But it is fun to think about what the University of Maine was like in the 60s, in the mid-60s. I, of course, wasn't around, but when my parents were here was the time when John Kennedy visited in 1963, just 34 days before his unfortunate death in Dallas. It was also the time when the university celebrated its 100th anniversary, its centennial, in 1965, the year that my mom graduated. But it is hard for me to think, certainly, and for all of us over here to think about them as, in those days, being the age of my youngest nephew who's here, Carter. It's a pretty hard thing to think about. But beyond that, my parents choosing UMaine and their meeting here has spurred, obviously, as you can tell, a family tradition. I think university means so much to us because not only does it represent times of remarkable growth in our lives, but also because of what it means to the state of Maine. While we all might have wandered away or sought other experiences at different times, all of us here now are back in Maine, residents, citizens, and community members, and we're proud of it. Being a Black Bear is just another way of showing our Maine pride. I think this also tells a great story about the University of Maine, one that is repeated thousands of times annually here. This is a story about what UMaine does for our state. It creates skills, social capital, and more complete human beings to drive and support our communities and our economy. It creates upward social mobility, even in this generation where it can sometimes seem less reachable. We are a family of Mainers blended with those from away. My mom's family had been in Knox County near Camden and Penobscot Bay for generations. Her grandfather was an orphan who came to the Mid-Coast and operated a candy store. My dad's grandparents on his mother's side came from Dingle, Ireland, raised a family of 17 in Springfield, Mass. My grandmother, we think, was 15 out of 17. She met my grandfather, who had migrated from Three Rivers, Quebec, in Keene, New Hampshire, before being drawn to Bath, Maine, on an assignment at the Naval Shipyard. That's how our story began, and now, on stage tonight, you see how it's going. From immigrants to Americans to Mainers, And now you see 9 Mainers, all graduates of the University of Maine. We have nurses, teachers, coaches, biologists, nonprofit and public health professionals, manufacturing technicians, and an insurance guy, all from UMaine. But more than that, we have community members and taxpayers. We have volunteers in schools, churches, and social service organizations, all serving the people of Maine. And if we look to our spouses and significant others, we have another awesome group of Mainers who we have made part of the Bork family. All of the benefit for Maine from a single spark that started maybe at the Bears Den or at Fogler Library, appropriately enough, which I know well. This is the University of Maine, I think, at its best, at what it does best every day. Our family is proud to try to exemplify that, and we look forward for many generations to come. Thank you to the College of Our Hearts always, and thank you for this honor.
The Champion of UMaine Award recognizes the impact of non-alums who continually support and advocate for the university and its mission. I'm going to pause right here before we introduce tonight's recipient to remember a former recipient. Tonight we are in Minsky Recital Hall, named for Leonard and Renee Minsky. Leonard and Renee both were not only pillars of the community, but pillars of the University of Maine. And when I say pillars, I don't mean the sort of decorative ones that don't do anything. I mean the ones that are under your house, holding the whole thing up. Renee passed away about 6 weeks ago, and Leonard had predeceased her quite some time. We had his service here. Renee, I happened to be in Florida when she passed away, and I was able to attend her ceremony. But I think it's important. Renee won this award in 2018. She was a champion of the University of Maine. She wasn't an alum, but she was a champion. And I think that sandwiched in between the Champion of the University of Maine Award and the Legacy Award, we remember and we honor Leonard and Renee in Minsky Recital Hall as true champions of the University of Maine, as is our next recipient.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Champion of UMaine Award is presented by the University of Maine Foundation.
I first met Jim when he was the commanding officer of the Naval ROTC unit. He impressed me right from the get-go, and to be honest, I bookmarked him at that point. When he finished in the Navy, he came into the School of Policy and International Affairs, SPIA as we all call it, and ultimately became the director and then executive director. When I was looking for a chief of staff, I knew the person was on campus, and I knew I would recognize immediately, bingo, that's the person. So I told my assistant that I was going to the union for coffee, and Jim walked in the door and was like, that's it, that's the person. He created a great team environment. He provided support for everyone. He actually set it up so that everybody, I think, grew in their jobs and got to do more. And we even took an office team climb of Mount Katahdin. A few months before my retirement, the athletic director left to take a job somewhere else, and I appointed Jim as the interim AD. And once again, he took on a very substantial job and did a great job in it. But I always knew that his first love was SPIA.
Jim is very engaged, and you can instantly tell that he cares deeply about whatever he's presenting to students in the moment. One of the core parts of the SPIA experience is learning professionalism. You're going to be out in the workforce in spaces where there are high-level conversations and high-level people. And from day one of being a student in the program, there's a an understanding that you're expected to step up into that role as well. And he's able to help you do that.
I can't think of anyone else who could be chief of staff to the president, lead a really specialized graduate program, and be athletic director for a D1 program. Do all of it really well, and then go back to the classroom and thrive there as well. It's just really remarkable to see the versatility and public-mindedness of a colleague like Jim.
Does Jim care for his students as much as he cares for his own family? According to our youngest daughter, Kristen, who was a student of Jim's, she calls Spia his fourth child. He's definitely a girl dad. We now have 2 son-in-laws. Now he's learning to be a dude dad, too. He's always there for them, and he's very loving, and he's very, very giving. He's very selfless. He always seems to be there for his students, too. They know that if they have any issues, a lot of his students are international students. Sometimes he steps in and is more of a father figure sometimes than he is as an advisor.
The people that pursue degrees in SPIA really can end up in the positions, and they can have a major impact on policy.
The leaders that come out of the SPIA program under Jim's guidance, those are people who are learning how to make the world a better place.
There are already students from SPIA who have learned from the captain, and they're working to make the world a better place.
Finally, he's close to retirement. How's he gonna do? He's very active. He's constantly moving. He has 2 speeds, full on and stop. So we'll see. We'll see.
Please welcome Jeff Mills, class of 1982, President and CEO of the University of Maine Foundation, who will now present our Champion of UMaine Award to Jim Settley. She's not the only one that says, "Shut up, Jim," right? You've heard of maybe more than quite a bit. I have to say that I had the pleasure of working with Jim when he was as a board member of the Collins Center for the Arts when I was the executive director. He was a very spirited member and never needed a microphone. The Bernard Lown 42 Alumni Humanitarian Award. This is an award that is not given out every year. It is this year, and you will soon find out why. It recognizes University of Maine alumni who are dedicated to outstanding service and impact at the regional, national, or global level through active engagement in saving lives, relieving suffering, and promoting human dignity. It is named in honor of Nobel laureate Dr. Bernard Lown, class of 42, who devoted his life to world disarmament and the advancement of human health.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Bernard Lown 42 Alumni Humanitarian Award is presented by Machias Savings Bank.
Kara is just dynamite. You start out with an idea and the project comes together. She's so very well connected in the community, in the state, and serving on national boards. She really keeps a board chair busy. She's broken glass ceilings with every endeavor that she or the organization endeavors to do. She's, again, dynamite.
I did my PhD dissertation on community action programs, and I looked into Penguis, and that's how I met Kara. We run a program every summer where we bring about 50 high school students to campus, and every year Kara has volunteered to come spend some time talking with those students about her work. Almost every year when we do a debrief with the students, they always say, you have to make sure that Kara comes back, because she shows them what it means to be driven by a passion, to be committed to the community that she lives in, to be driven by something that is grounded in ethics and morality. And I think students, young people especially, really, really resonate with her message and with the work that she does.
Kara Hay is a force of nature who is good-natured. Kara really and her team were pioneering providing housing to people who can't afford housing in Maine, and we've been working on 3D printing homes. So it made sense for us to get together and figure out how we work together. Because of her leadership, we are now working together on a 3D printed bio-based neighborhood of 9 homes in the Bangor area.
Penguis gives Kara a platform to do this work, and I really think she'd be doing it anyway. It's within her. She's one of those rare people that it just comes so naturally to her. Kara has touched so many aspects of our community, from food insecurity to housing to workforce development to substance use disorder. There are Kara's fingerprints on so many aspects that support people in our community that need that kind of support, but also that inspire so many people to do more.
I think if more organizations had a leader like Kara, I believe it would be a much better world.
Anyone can be a human, but Kara shows us what it means to be a humanitarian.
It takes leaders like Kara who really see the future, understand the future, and willing to go after the future.
Kara puts the human in humanitarian.
Danielle Ahern, class of 2000, Senior Vice President of Machias Savings Bank, will now present the Bernard Lown Humanitarian Award to Kara Hay.
This sucker's heavy. Hold on, it's going to take me just a second. Good evening, my friends. Salute to you all in just the briefest of time. From the depths of my heart, a few simple words which I give to you now in rhyme. Okay, I just want to say it's Friday night. Like I gotta wrap this up. Okay, it's 558, 558. We got this. This is my moment to give a quick thanks, and I promise I'll be quite brief. There are 9 here being honored tonight. Their efforts beyond belief. I commend you all for all that you've done with commitment, passion, and grit. You've distinguished yourselves through all that you've achieved, showing that you'll never quit. And here we all are in the fabulous Minsky at UMaine Alum's Epic Bash, dressed up in our finest, and as our sponsors remind us, together we're making a splash. And I have the honor of standing up here to receive this amazing award. Please feel my full thanks, my deepest regards. To receive this honor, I'm floored. And to Tom and his staff, their excellent board, and of course, President Joan, thanks for this nod, such a touching tribute. My mind's undoubtedly blown. To Ryan LaRochelle, who leads with such care, it's truly been such a treat when I've come to your class and spoke of our work, engaging the upcoming gen. This award is named for the great Bernard Lown, winner of a Nobel Peace Prize. He spent his whole life transforming the world. This clearly brings tears to my eyes. Many thanks must go to our tireless team. Where are you? Who gets the job done every day. They give all they have and they never flinch, regardless of what comes their way. I give thanks to my mom for her endless support, and I certainly would be remiss if I didn't pause to give all of my heart to my kind, loving fiancé, Chris. And there's one who's away doing great things, who I thank with all that I am. For his heart and his wisdom, support, and compassion, I thank my amazing son, Sam. Penquist is serving the great state of Maine. Of our strength, you've certainly heard. And even when faced with the toughest of times, we will not let our work be deterred. Our approach all-embracing, our geography vast. We don't do anything small. From rides to homes to health to loans, we offer a bit of it all. With a staff of 500 extremely bold goals and programs that support and guide, we're building a bridge for thousands each day, standing with care by their side. The work's who we are. It's what we believe. Penquist is thankful to serve, and we'll stop at nothing to raise Mainers up. It's something that we all deserve. At the end of the day, we're gathered together to honor the work that we do, to boost those around us, to help our neighbors, to make sure that no one falls through. And yet there are many who suffer each day. There's so much work to be done, but I know in my heart that if we work hard, Penquist can help everyone. Together we push, we fight for what's right, to help make sure families succeed, addressing the roots and transforming lives, ensuring folks get what they need. This is why we're here, to help people up, to support, guide, and lift. It's our core. For 59 years, we've helped those in need, and will do so for 50 years more. Thank you. That's the end of my poem, but just one final note. I think you'll agree that it's true. UMAA is the best. Just look at this room. We can clearly proclaim, go blue.
You saw the very heavy award that she received. What you may not know, some of you do, that 2 or 3 years ago, the U.S. Mint put out a commemorative coin, a dollar coin, to honor innovators from every state in the country. Bernard Lown was the innovator for the state of Maine. He, in addition to a Peace Prize, he invented the cardiac defibrillator. But more than he was a true innovator. He would have loved that speech. Because he was. My wife and I got to know him pretty well over the years, and he was a great joke teller. He loved language and he loved words, and he would have loved that your speech in rhyme. But he was a true innovator, and I think he would have really appreciated what you do for our community. This award isn't given out every year, but I think we found a great recipient, so congratulations. The Suzanne K. Hart 68 Alumni Service Award is awarded to an alumnus with a long-standing history of leadership and service to promote and support the University of Maine Alumni Association.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Suzanne K. Hart 68 Alumni Service Award is presented by WBRC.
When the Alumni Association Board was looking for leader-doers, we immediately thought of Charles Stanhope. At our first governance board meeting, Charles offered to look under the hood of our bylaws. Who does that? 3 days later, he sent us back highlights, table of contents, supporting documents. Many of his suggestions and changes were adopted by the governance committee and became part of the Alumni Association's bylaws.
He doesn't just talk, he does. He established a study abroad scholarship in the Honors College. He had an amazing career in the Library of Congress. He has traveled so many places, and all those travel experiences, all those opportunities to talk to people, he wants students to have that same experience. So every year we're able to send 1 or 2 students abroad thanks to Charles Stanhope.
When we worked together on this 150th celebration of the University of Maine Alumni Association, he was key to that whole experience. After the event, he wanted to know the names of the contact people for the pet band because he wanted to congratulate them and contribute to them because they were part of that big celebration.
He's been what you want in an alum of a university. He's donated so much of his time and talent. He was the chair of the Alumni Association's Advocacy Committee. One of the things it did was commission a detailed study of the economic, social, entrepreneurial, and tax-based impact of University of Maine alums throughout the state. Made a pretty powerful statement about how much the University of Maine and its graduates add value to the state, and Charles was the one who championed that.
Let me chime in on Charles Stanhope. I wish former Honors College Dean Charlie Slavin was alive today to celebrate Charles with this award. Charlie would be here leading the celebration for Charles, because Charles not only is an alum of the University of Maine, he's an all-star alum of the Honors College. And it's because of Charles that the Honors College started this incredible tradition of bringing students down to DC, to the Library of Congress. I love Charles Stanhope for everything he is, for his love of the University of Maine, his love of the arts, his generosity, his kindness and spirit.
He just, I think, appreciates everything that UMaine did for him, and he wants to pay it back. And that's the kind of guy he is.
It would be fortunate to have 100 Charles Stanhopes. We are fortunate to have the one.
I believe that the University of Maine truly made Charles Stanhope the man that he became. And today, Charles Stanhope is truly helping make the University of Maine the institution that it is and the institution that it's going to be.
Charles Stanhope made our Alumni Association Board stronger. And you know what else he made stronger? The college of our heart, always.
Phil Badger, class of 2003, senior electrical engineer with WBRC, will now present the Suzanne K. Hart 68 Alumni Service Award to the one, Charles Stanhope.
This is a tough act to follow. Whoever did the run of show that had me follow the poet and the commander, the athletic director. I mean, I am just not up to this task. But the other reaction I have as an eyewitness to this evening is how much we love this place and what it does and how it influences lives, and how it sends those lives out into the world around us to touch lives, many of whom we will never know about, but we know it's happening because we got grounded here too. I'm very honored to be a recipient of the Suzanne K. Hart Alumni Service Award. I was in the room where the portrait of Suzanne hangs in Buchanan Alumni House. She's gazing off with a heavy, inspired heart, really, thinking of the future and thinking of the impact of this institution that she knew so well and loved so very much. And then when you look at the list of previous recipients of this award and its predecessor award, it's a distinguished group to have your name added to. And one of them I want to single out. You're going to see her again. You've already seen her. But the indefatigable Tracy Bigby. I did get Trish Riley, sorry. I knew it was a T. She keeps us going, inspires us in every way. I'm proud that I established this travel fund in the Honors College in 2008. And since 2010, 22 honors students have taken their academic pursuits far from this campus. I'm proud to be able to help them in this way. When I was an undergraduate, the university had an honors program established in 1935. Through the leadership of the deans over the years and with the support of the administration, that program has blossomed into our nationally recognized honors college. But its hallmark is community. There is a small college feel on the large university campus because of the honors college. So Emily, or someone mentioned Charlie Slavin. It was Charlie Slavin and Emily and Danny, the indefatigable representative of the foundation at the time, that helped me establish this fund so that we could do this. We could take students abroad with their academic curiosity. I never had a chance to do that when I was an undergrad. I didn't even have anybody invite me to travel abroad. Uncle Sam gave me that opportunity when I served in the Army. But each year I'm excited to learn where the recipients are going and what academic intellectual curiosity they're going to pursue. Because they come back here knowing more about themselves, more about their subject, but more about the standing that this university has, not only across America, but around the world. So that sheet there, that little movie, gave you a lot more about me than I can give you. I've done all kinds of committee work, and I've worked with others over the years because, as the commander said, I got asked to do it. When you're asked and you think you can make a positive contribution and you're honored and capable, you step up and do. It also has given me an opportunity to get to know the executive leadership of the campus, who, and President Joan alluded to this a little bit before for all of us, they've tolerated my persistent suggestions at just how things should be done. And at every turn, my greatest satisfaction has been the friends I've made over the years from each of these opportunities. And so to close, I want to just thank all my dear friends who are here this evening to help recognize my honor. I'm honored that you're here too. My lifelong friend Mark is here. The nominator Louise is here, my neighbor from Southwest Harbor, and assorted others. Two fraternity brothers, not of mine, I was not a fraternity guy, but people that I met from Teak who are here and have traveled distances to be with us tonight because their experience at the university means so much to them. They wanted to help celebrate. In my opinion, the university is the jewel in the crown of higher education in our state, equipping creative leaders, teachers, engineers, nurses to play key roles in taking Maine on into the 21st century. Thank you for listening to my ramble. Thank you for the tribute. Thank you to the Alumni Association and its talented staff. This tribute, I can't wait to get my hands on it and share with my family. But some of those pictures is like, I don't remember sending them that picture. So they might have had their sleuths out somewhere looking for me. In any event, it's a great privilege to be with all of you as always, and to be on this campus and celebrate the commitment that alumni have made all these years to sustain this institution, to sustain the association, and to inspire future students to be alumni and to get engaged and to stay in touch. Thank you all for this evening very much.
I'll tell you a very brief story. The first time I met Charles, I was trying to make a good impression. I went down to Washington to meet him. And this is just the kind of guy Charles is, always giving, wanting to give people opportunity. We were at a restaurant, and we were in a booth, and across the way was Senator Lindsey Graham and Tom Ridge, who had just stepped down as DHS secretary. And you know, it's always cool to see politicos out in the wild, I guess. And so Charles and I had a nice dinner. We're kind of getting to know each other. And they get up to leave, and Secretary Ridge left his glasses on the table. I said, Charles, he left his, he said, go get them and go bring them to me. I said, he said, go get them. They're just go out. So I ran over to the table, grabbed the glasses, I go out, and they're talking on the curb. And I said, Governor, I think you left your glasses on the table. He said, you know, sometimes restaurants, when people forget their glasses, they bring over a basket of glasses for us to use. So these belong to the restaurant. And so I'm returning a pair of glasses that belong to the restaurant to the recently stepped down Department of Homeland Security. And I kid you not, Lindsey Graham says, well, how about that honest man in Washington? And so I go back into the restaurant. I put the glasses back on the table. And I said, Charles, those belong to the restaurant. He said, I know. I just thought you'd want to meet them. An honest man in Washington. That is a 100% true story. Julia Muncie, you get to follow that. Class of 2002 is a second-generation Black Bear. Her parents, Helen, 61, and Bill, 61, a mentor of mine, were a Bear pair. And Bill served as director of admissions at UMAA for many years. Julia is an active, very active and dedicated alumna, having served on the Alumni Association board for 10 years, including 3 years as board chair. Tonight, Julia is proudly representing the class of 1942 and the class of 2002 in presenting the Distinguished Maine Professor Award. Julia.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you all so much for being here tonight. As I was in the reception area and talking to folks, I said to a number of people, I think I know every single person in this room, which just speaks to what a small world it is here in Maine, and certainly here at the University of Maine. And if I don't know you, please come up and introduce yourself to me. I would love that. It's so wonderful to be here tonight to honor our amazing alums, professors, friends, and supporters. It's always so inspiring, and it's a true honor to be a part of this wonderful event. Thank you all so much for being a part of it. It is now my privilege to introduce the 2026 Distinguished Maine Professor Award. In the early 1960s, Mike Roy and other members of the UMaine class of 1942 established an endowment fund to honor one member of the University of Maine faculty annually who represented the highest ideals of the University of Maine's tripartite mission of teaching, research, and public service. And they named this honor the Distinguished Maine Professor Award. Since the inception of this honor in 1963, the UMaine Alumni Association has honored the vision of the class of 1942 by annually convening a special committee of alumni, university leaders, and past honorees to rigorously review each nominee's credentials as submitted by their academic dean and to select an honoree. The class of 1942 started a tradition of presenting certain items of tangible recognition for each year's award recipient, including a distinctive blazer and a custom medallion to be worn with their academic regalia at commencement and on other special occasions. The class of 1942 also created an endowment fund to annually generate a cash award to the new Distinguished Maine Professor in the amount of $4,200 in honor of the class of 42. Each year, the newest Distinguished Maine Professor is also honored with an opportunity to carry the ceremonial mace to lead faculty into commencement and to address graduates at commencement, and their name is added to our perpetual plaque in Fogler Library. Dr. Musavi's photo and name were added to that plaque earlier today. It means so much to the UMaine Alumni Association to know that our UMaine faculty widely view the Distinguished Maine Professor Award as the most prestigious faculty honor at the University of Maine. We know this is true in part because so many past honorees are here tonight to support our newest Distinguished Maine Professor. It is my pleasure to introduce past honorees who are with us tonight. Would all past Distinguished Maine Professors stand and remain standing when I call your name, and we would ask the audience to hold your applause until all past honorees are introduced. Honored in 1991, Stephen Norton. 1994, Dana Humphrey. 1995, Habib Dagger. 2001, Keith Hutchison. 2004, Eric Landis. 2005, Robert Strong. 2011, Alfred Bushway, class of 68. In 2015, William Davids, class of 89 and 91 grad. 2018, Francis Drummond. 2019, Sandra Karen, class of 79 and 82 grad. 2022, Richard Powell. 2023, Roberto Lopez Anido. And 2025, Mark Brewer. Please, a round of applause. In 2012, Mike Roy and his remaining 1942 classmates passed the torch to my class, the class of 2002, and asked us to take responsibility for stewardship of the award and its endowment fund. In addition to support from these classes, we are grateful to University Credit Union for their sponsorship support for the Distinguished Maine Professor presentation tonight. And now, It's time to introduce the recipient of the 2026 Distinguished Maine Professor Award.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Distinguished Maine Professor Award is presented by UCU and the UMaine classes of 1942 and 2002.
Mohammed really loves the profession of engineering, and he sees an engineer as a person who changes the world. When you convert problems into solutions, you have made the world a better place, and he believes that every one of us has a role to play, and it is his responsibility to try to get us there.
Dr. Musavi goes out and finds real problems and solves them. He's passionate about it, and he combines his passion with compassion, because the role of the associate dean sometimes is to deal with the students who need a little bit more help. And he is the understanding ear that takes and helps get the students pointed in the right direction.
When he meets with students and he has the classroom or the research activities, he asks every single person, like, what is your passion or what is your problem? For him, every person counts. And that comes from inside him. His ethical standards are like the highest I have ever seen, and he really cares about people.
I think he likes to help others. He spends one-on-one time as needed, when needed, and he also is very smooth in doing subtle follow-up when needed, without micromanaging or without dictating terms. And I think many people will vouch for that, students and faculty both.
There's no faculty member that I can think of who cares more about their students' success than Professor Musavi. So not only is he a wonderful teacher in the classroom, not only does he give feedback to students that enables them to learn, but he actually takes great pride in attending to them outside of the classroom to ensure that they're not just succeeding in his class, but actually succeeding at the University of Maine.
Mohammed is an exemplar of our faculty and of our leadership here at the University of Maine, and a phenomenal background of accomplishments in research and in starting and organizing initiatives in his science and in his engineering. But here at UMaine, what stands out to me with Mohammed is his loyalty and his participation. He's always present. You can always count on him to be there with the right word, with the right contribution, showing up when he needs to, and quietly leading the college now, the Maine College of Engineering and Computing, into new territory with consistency and a deep knowledge and a love for this university that we all admire.
I think he sees it as part of his mission as an academic and as a member of the community to make the time, somehow, magically, to attend to all of the different parts of our tripartite mission of teaching, research, and service. And so I don't know how he manages to do it, but I'm grateful that he does.
Professor Musavi was the first one who actually got to the state of Maine artificial intelligence and machine learning when it was not a thing. And actually, he applied it to support the power grid and to make smart decisions on where to put power sources and so on.
He's a very practical engineer. He worked with Central Maine Power, then Bangor Hydro, and brought on graduate students, solved the problems, trained the students, and those students went to work for companies in Maine. From the aspect of public service, Dr. Musavi really shines. He saw out in the public school system that when we say STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, the missing letter in the public school systems was the E, the engineering part. So he took it upon himself to train teachers in engineering through summer programs and other means so he get the E in STEM in the public schools in Maine.
Another example of his nationwide impact is he had started stormwater management and research program called SMART in quite a few years ago, which really became a model to how to get high school students interested in STEM education by connecting them that they could help local communities. A lot of Maine communities have stormwater problems. So he trained a bunch of students and teachers with instrumentation he managed to get in their hands, and a program where they could feel like they developed solutions for the local communities.
I think it's very rare for someone who's a distinguished academic, a world-renowned researcher, and a masterful teacher to also take the time to get to know his students and to ensure that they're able to thrive, not just at the University of Maine, but after leaving the University of Maine.
Dr. Musavi, as one of your colleagues for so long, congratulations on being a distinguished Maine professor. You are so deserving. It's actually overdue. Congratulations, my friend.
Mohammed, you were one of the very first people that I met when I came to the University of Maine. You were advocating for the College of Engineering, as it was then called. You have seen it through its growth into the Maine College of Engineering and Computing with steadiness, with loyalty, and with kindness, and I'm proud to be able to count you as a colleague and friend.
Mohammed, my friend, I think you should have been getting this quite a bit ago. I think you made it, and I think you made all of us proud. I have been there with you for more than 30 years as a faculty member and as a department chair. I've seen you in action many, many times. This is well deserved, and congratulations. Enjoy.
Mohammed, congratulations. I'm so happy that you've been recognized with this professorship. Your example, your research, your teaching, and your leadership are something that we should all emulate, and I'm grateful that you've brought your intelligence and incredible record to the benefit of students at the University of Maine, both past, present, and future. Congratulations.
Mohammed, congratulations on this award. I know that many people have already told you how great you are, how great your accomplishments are, but I am the one who can say I saw you laugh, I saw you enjoy during the Halloween party, so I promised you I wouldn't embarrass you, so I will not. But I know that you have achieved a lot while also sharing the joy and the laughs with everyone around you. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
We invite you to stand
and join us in honoring
this year's University of Maine
Distinguished Maine Professor,
Professor Mohammed Musavi.
Deb White-Rideout, class of 1982, Executive Vice President of the University Credit Union, and Julia Muncy now present the Distinguished Maine Professor Award to Dr. Mohammed Musavi.
Thank you so much. I tried not to get emotional, but honestly, the introduction, I did not expect that. Thank you so much, Tom, Julia, for the great introduction, the Alumni Association Board for the honor. Thank you, my boss, Dr. Budabani, and my colleague, Dr. Masood Rais Rouhani, for nominating me. Thank you, President Frini Mandi. Thank you, distinguished guests, friends, colleagues, and I see some of my students here, and especially my family who is here tonight, and to make this night a very special and memorable night in my life. But I'm gonna get back to you as the alumni of this university. That's my story about. And that's what I'm gonna share with you tonight. And to be named the distinguished Maine professor by an organization of 110,000 alumni is deeply humbling, and I'm truly grateful for that. I have spent more than 4 decades at the University of Maine as a faculty member, a chair, and associate dean, and it has been the privilege of my career to be part of this community. Over the years, I have come to appreciate something very simple, yet very powerful. What we do here does not end as at graduation. It begins there. Some of the most meaningful moments of my career have not been in classroom or laboratories, but in reconnecting with our alumni after they have graduated. Seeing what our students have become. I see them out there designing the bridges we cross, leading the companies that power our state, and inventing the technologies that we have not even dreamed of yet. And when they come to return to campus, and I have seen many examples during my career here, when they share their experiences with the students, mentor the next generation, and stay connected, you see something remarkable. This is the full circle of education. I see that full circle even here tonight. In mentors who guided me in my career, and in colleagues and former students who have gone on to build companies and lead institutions across this community. This is the strength of this community and our community, University of Maine. I have many fond memories visiting our alumni, and I share with you a couple of them. About 5 years ago, Pat and I traveled to see an alumnus from the 60s who lived in Lexington, Massachusetts. Yeah. And in the middle of February, he insisted on giving us a tour of the Patriot Trail in Lexington. You know where that is. The wind was biting and the air was bone-chilling. The kind of February day that only a Mainer could truly appreciate. It was unexpected and completely unforgettable. I did not have my heavy jacket on. I thought I'm going to go to a coffee shop or a nice restaurant now. But as we walked, I realized the meaning wasn't in the historic trail. It was in the connection we were forging in the cold. Years later, that alumnus made a transformational gift to support our college. But what stayed with me wasn't the gift. It was that day walking together, talking about ideas, and seeing the passion in a former alumni of this university, caring about his alma mater and the UMAA students. Because in moments like that, you understand what this community is truly built on. In people like you, who have come here to celebrate this moment. I also remember a conversation with the CEO on a hot July day over 20 years ago. He came to my office in Barrows Hall from Portland, frustrated. He was really frustrated. He said, Mohammed, we have spent tens of thousands of dollars each year trying to hire engineers. And after a couple of years, they are gone. It's a losing game for us. I told the CEO, and I was much younger at that time, start building your workforce right here when they are still students. They took that advice. Over time, those students became their engineers and made more than 50% of their engineering workforce. Now listen to this. The company grew and became a highly successful organization. What began as a simple idea became a long-term partnership. Over 10 years, that company grew from a $20 million venture to $100 million powerhouse. And that was what our graduates built for them. That is the power of our alumni, and seeing that kind of impact is what had kept me going day in and day out for over 40 years. I have also believed in building pathways from K through 12 education to higher education to industry, so that the students can see not just where they are, but where they can go. I saw this vision come to life when we partnered with Bangor High School and Thornton Academy to develop the first STEM academies in the state of Maine. That was over 14 years ago. Students who once visited our labs as high schoolers went on to achieve national recognition in Intel Talent Search and receiving $150,000 at the age of 15. Graduated from this university and become highly accomplished professionals. This is what makes a community strong. A community where each generation opens the door for the next. This honor to me reflects not just an individual journey, but a shared one. It reflects the work we have done together. Faculty, students, alumni, and partners across the state of Maine. As I receive this award and reflect on the journey of the last 4 decades, I've come to a humbling realization. I am merely a single tree in this beautiful Maine landscape. But you are the earth that sustains it. A tree can only reach for the sky if the ground beneath it is deep, rich, and firm. My achievements were never mine alone. They were only possible because of your mentorship, your gifts, and the kindness of your heart. You provided the nutrients I needed to grow. You provided the stability that allowed me to stand. I am only here today because of the strength and beauty of the soil you created. Looking around this room, I see the people who gave generously, whether it was $100 or $100,000, to ensure we had the opportunity and means to serve our students. Now you are honoring me with this award. But in truth, a tree cannot claim credit for the height it reaches. That credit belongs to the ground. This award belongs to you. Thank you. I'm not going I just wanted to thank you as a small token of my appreciation for everything you have. You might be getting tired and want to leave. I just have maybe 1 more minute. As a small token of my appreciation for everything you have taught me, I want to honor the lessons of giving. That is the bedrock of this community. I am giving back the monetary portion of this award to the cause you first championed in me. The gift of education for our next generation. Let us assure that this ground remains rich and powerful for all the young trees yet to grow. Thank you for this honor, for your partnership, and for your continued commitment to the University of Maine. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Musavi. As you can see from the table, it is we're down to our last award. It's time. It's time. Some of you are paying attention. All right, you're still with us here. Before we go to the Alumni Career Award, but before we introduce the video, I'd like to take the opportunity to ask prior Alumni Achievement Award, Career Award winners who are in the audience to please stand and be recognized. Madam Ambassador, congratulations. The Alumni Career Award is the UMAA Alumni Association's most prestigious alumni honor, presented to an alum who has had an outstanding achievement in professional, business, civic, or other public service areas.
The University of Maine Alumni Association's 2026 Alumni Career Award is presented by the University of Maine Foundation.
I'd say the biggest word to describe Trish Riley as far as her whole career and as a student also is service. She was very active as a student. I'd known her a little bit from her service to the state before that. When you look at what I call the big four boards, she has been on all four of them, and she's been the chair of 3 of them. She served in a time with student government when a lot of things were happening in the world, really got active as a student and beyond that with service to her state and to the national level, and then to come back and also serve her university and the University of Maine system.
Trish Riley means business. Trish Riley always shows up knowing her stuff, ready to advocate for her fellow students, advocating during the civil rights movement. And that activism turned into a love of public policy, pushing for serious change and meaningful advocacy in healthcare and education and beyond. And Trish Riley always works to get to the right thing that needs to happen for the people of Maine, for the University of Maine. Multiple governors have called on Trish Riley to do great things for the state of Maine.
Her dedication to the people of Maine, I mean, that's an easy thing to say about a lot of people, but it's true in her case because she has strong opinions, but they're opinions based on fact and based on research. She knows her stuff. She digs in and does the work, form alliances, and compromise on some issues, but move forward with a certain sense of direction, and that's Trish Riley. She's stepped up in many ways as the director of the Bureau of Elderly, Bureau of Senior Citizens, advocacy against drug prices, and as someone who developed the Dirigo health insurance plan under Governor Baldacci. And she's always been about health care and reducing health care prices, reducing pharmaceutical prices, coordinating on hospitals and healthcare institutions.
In terms of a model alumna who has served this university and our state and the nation with integrity and with fantastic performance and creativity. She has started new organizations, she has led them, she has started new programs in the state and has weathered all the challenges that go with doing that with calmness, perseverance, and an interest in what is best for the people of Maine. She's a model for me in terms of her commitment and her kindness.
Trish Riley is not originally from Maine. She came to the University of Maine as an out-of-state student. She never talks about that. I think that she thinks of herself as being totally blue and totally a Mainer. She chose to come here and chose to stay here and to be so active with Maine. It's okay, Trish. Your secret is safe with me.
Her commitments to Maine and her loyalty to this university have continued throughout her career. We are really proud that she is our alum.
I know that for me, if I'm going into battle on anything, I want to go with Trish because she's going to be doing the right thing in the right way to do the most good.
The University of Maine may have given Trish a lot, but she has given us so much more.
She has this inner sense of drive and a love for Maine and a love for the university. Being a graduate of the university and the first one in her family to graduate from higher ed, it gives her a purpose that is beneficial to the state of Maine. She serves us well.
On behalf of the University of Maine Foundation, President CEO Jeff Mills will now present the 2026 Career Award to Trish Riley.
I get the hint. Thank you so very, very much. This is a great honor. It's hard to be the last after a group of such distinguished people and eloquence that just extraordinary. And thanks, Jeff. A scholarship brought me here, and then I stayed. Couldn't get rid of it. My mother, from Massachusetts, drilled into us two things. Never draw attention to yourself, and never, ever, ever, ever brag. So this Career Award Achievement Award kind of challenges her admonitions, but I still hold them as true. So thank you so very, very much. It's terrific. I'm very humbled by this. This is the university where I found my voice. where I found my bearings, where I learned how to organize, where we did everything, because as many of you have commented, people step up at the University of Maine. They step up. I studied literature. I've never had a job for which my degree qualified me. But I studied literature because it was the best insight into what makes people tick. And if you want to engage people, and if you want to make change, you need to know them. And I go back to it frequently. I loved my work. I worked hard. I'm particularly grateful. I think it's important that it's not who you are. It's not the titles you held. It's what you were able to accomplish. And we were able to accomplish important things in this state, some of which we may need to revisit. One was women's rights. Another was mandatory retirement. And now, 50, 60 years later, we seem to be revisiting some of those very issues. But it was important to lead things that sustained. My first federal grant, Joan, was to create the Legal Services to the Elderly program. And it continues today, Dean Softly. And the health reform work and creating a national organization in the state of Maine was just great. I have 1 million miles from 2 different airlines in each of them. I traveled all across the country. I've seen every state worked in every state except North Dakota and Alaska. And the question people always asked was, why Maine? Why not? And that organization continues. Of course, nobody builds a career alone. And I was very, very lucky to have a mentor here, Connie Carlson, a professor of English, the first woman to receive the Distinguished Faculty Award, the first woman to be a president at one of our campuses at UMPI. Throughout my career, I was not infrequently in the press and not always in affirmative ways. Some of the things we did were controversial. And a letter would arrive. Connie and I did not share the same politics. A letter would arrive after some particularly blasted moment in the press from Connie, and it would say something like, "Read Eudora Welty." She was always there, always a mentor. The kinds of friends that we all talk about at the university are so critically important. I left the university with my little degree, not sure of what I was going to do, and a friend who had been working for Governor Curtis called and said, "There's a job at the Governor's Committee on Aging, why don't you do it?" And I said, "Sure." And it was a terrific job, except I thought, well, I'll be doing public policy, we'll be doing important work for aging in Maine. I was 22. I knew nothing, except what I'd read in literature. And the first job was to organize the 3/4 Century Club. This was a tribute for those lucky enough to reach the age of 75. 1,000 people were shipped into the Augusta Armory, and they had an opportunity to hear the governor and an opportunity to have a luncheon and be feted for their accomplishment of reaching the age of 75. So I thought, well, this, giving them a meal, that's nice, but we should, these are lower income people, they need services. Why don't we have booths and health screening, and we did all kinds of educational things. It was a full house, and it meant we had to cut back on the lunch a little bit, but it was all good. And two things resulted. This was the beginning of my career. One, I wrote my first speech for a governor. Governor Curtis gave it, line for line. I felt pretty good. Two, I was called up in front of 1,000 people to the front head table, and the chairman of the organization threw a sandwich in my face. And I thought, perfect, I'm ready for public service. But it's hard not to think about the importance of this place in all that created us and all that motivates us. Somebody else talked about their teaching, research, and public service mission. We all talk about the people, and Charles, I want you to know that I am delighted to be confused with Tracy Bigney. She was a sorority sister and a good friend, so thank you. But when you think about this campus, you think about the beauty of it. The beauty of it. It's just, the environment is so important to who we are as the University of Maine. It's the only place that I had been where you could walk anywhere and look at the stars. And it creates stars all across the state and the nation and the country. Its research is so, so well known. Well, I'm still upset that the sheep aren't here and the barns are gone. The kind of research underway in this university is extraordinary, as we heard from our distinguished faculty member and others. It's extraordinary work. This place is a gentle giant that not enough people fully understand. And the enthusiasm of this group needs to be shared, I think, more broadly, more often. And we need to remember that among the research, we're also doing research for NASA. People forget, I think, that we're a space grant as well as a land grant. Right now, the headwinds in higher education are profound. It's money, it's public impression, it's demographics, very, very significant changes. It's AI. What's happening in classrooms? How will AI affect the workforce? What do we need to educate people for? And I think one of the most important things that this university is doing and being a true leader in is sailing right into the headwinds, tacking as they must, thinking about the future, re-envisioning what this university should be. Several years ago, the president asked the university community and all of us to think about what would the University of Maine be if we were inventing it today. A very good question. She's engaged the community in those discussions. It's bold, it's visionary, it's controversial. Nobody likes change except wet babies. It's hard, hard work. But this university continues to move, to change, to grow, to adapt, to be the public resource, the public University of Maine, to be the jewel in the crown of the University of Maine system, to be the R1 institution. It's building a better tomorrow. It's fielding graduates ready to lead Maine, the nation, and the world in civic, professional, and cultural life. It's a vibrant place shaping the future in ways most institutions, I don't think, are. Most institutions react, worry, avoid the confrontation of the tough questions of the future. Now that is something to brag about. So I recognize the time. I thank the University of Maine Foundation for this nomination, the University of Maine Alumni Association for this great award, and all of you for just such a wonderful evening that shows the true, true importance of this university for the state of Maine and for the world. So thank you all, thank you all.
There's nothing left on the table, so that can only mean one thing. Thank you so very much for being here this evening. Just a little bit of housekeeping to all of tonight's honorees and including the DMPs. There will be an opportunity to take photos down here afterwards, so please come on down to the stage. And also, just a final thanks not only to all of you, but especially to the Alumni Association, the Alumni Association staff, and our sponsors. How about another round of applause? We started tonight's event with a video about words. And tonight, our closing video, I invite you to engage in a bit of a thought exercise. Think of the one word that describes the University of Maine to you.
If I had to sum up my University of Maine experience in one word,
May I have a second to think about it?
Just one.
That's hard. That's hard.
that word would be community.
Family.
Belonging.
My one word is amazing.
I'm going to go with energizing.
Gratifying.
My one word is real.
It sounds trite to say, but my entire University of Maine experience can be summed up as life-changing, still today.
I've been asked this question before. I always say life-changing.
It's with a hyphen. I'm hyphenating it.
Just give me a second and let me think of a synonym for that.
Transformative. Final answer.
Transformative.
My one word would be transformative.
Challenging.
Commitment.
Rewarding.
My word would be fulfilling.
If I had to sum it up in one word, I would say hope.
Awesome.
Thank you for celebrating the Black Bear spirit with us tonight. And now, we invite you to stand and sing the Maine Stein song.